There are some terrible injustices in this world that have gone and continue to go unpunished. At times these wrongs weigh us down heavily. We are filled with great anger or a deep desire to put things right. But in light of this, here is a tough question for each one of us. Are you a good person? Or maybe a better question to ask, are you good enough? Well, throughout even the last 50 years or so, the basis for answering that question has changed quite dramatically. In large part, the basis for deciding whether you're good or not has moved away from something stationary and objective and is now much more rooted in how you connect with people across the world. Goodness seems to now be measured by a sliding scale. So whether you feel good or not will depend on how you perceive you measure up to the people you surround yourself with on social media or the people you choose to listen to on the internet. Some days you might feel really good. You might feel great when you realise you do match up or even surpass other people in virtue. But then other days you will be crushed and you'll be racked with guilt as you realise that most of the other people are outperforming you. See, a sliding scale with paedophiles and racists on one side and maybe activists and social entrepreneurs on the other, it just isn't the answer. But perhaps we like it because it allows us to keep avoiding that little question that comes up again and again and again. Am I good enough? Imagine that the entire record of your life was taken down in painstaking detail. Even your innermost thoughts and feelings were recorded, and they were sent to the inbox of your family and your friends and your co-workers and your neighbours. Would that change how you answered that question? Are you a good enough person? Well, whoever shared this video with you did that because they don't have a good answer for themselves, and they know that you can't answer that either. However, they want you to follow Jesus because he does. In one of the most famous verses in the Bible, Jesus is talking to a man who looks really good. And he says to him, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish, but have eternal life." Well, so far, so good. Maybe you've heard that verse before. But Jesus then goes on to say this: whoever believes in him is not condemned, but whoever does not believe stands condemned already. Jesus' answer to this question gets rid of any scale we would use to compare ourselves to others when we try to decide whether we're good or not. Instead, Jesus' answer puts us all from racists to activists in the same position. We stand condemned in front of God. Perhaps the darkness in our own hearts doesn't quite seem as dark as some of the atrocities across the world. But it all stems from the same source, it's sin. And it leaves us in the same position, condemned. We are all sinners, and so we are all guilty, every single one of us. And if there's no God, well then there's no justice. There's no justice for the gas chambers of Nazi Germany, and there's no justice for the little lie that you told your friend to make your life a little bit more comfortable. But there is a God. He is a God who hates sin and yet loves people. He is a God who will make sure that full justice is carried out. Nothing is going to be forgotten about. But he's also a God who's going to ensure that mercy and grace are poured out. And the cross of Jesus Christ is the only place where these can meet. We want you to come and follow Jesus because none of us are good enough, but he is. And He offers you the chance to be declared not just good enough, but rather to be declared righteous forever.